In today's video, I want to talk about the before and after pseudo elements that you get in CSS. Now with these, we can actually inject content into web pages. They are pseudo elements, which means that they don't exist in the HTML. If I come into the HTML and I'm searching for something that I'm going to style, I will not ever find a pseudo element here. These are elements. I've got main, paragraph, header, H1, H2. Those are actual elements. So when I write the names, I know which tags I'm pointing at, or classes or IDs. With a pseudo element, I'm saying, okay, every paragraph on my page is what this is doing. Every paragraph that's inside the main element. I can now come in here and say after with 2 colons. So this is the pseudo element after. I'm looking at every paragraph on the page and I'm saying after the content, before the closing tag. So right here and right here, I'm going to do something. I'm going to create some new content. And I use the content property. This will allow me to, I can target the attribute. If there was an attribute inside of here, I can just put something inside quotation marks. Let's say updated on August 26, 2018. There. So I have now added this piece of content right here, this August 26th, 2018. That has been added to the page, and that has been added to the page just by my doing the, the updated. That whole piece right there. Now, because this is a pseudo element, it means I can actually style just this one piece. If we use display, by default things are display inline, but if I say display block, there we go. Now this element is display block, which means it starts on its own line, and anything that comes after it has to start on a new line as well. So I've got those two things. I can style the content the same way I would style anything else. You know, olive, there we go. I'm using the green color for both of them. We can change the font size, the font weight, anything that you can think of to style the content, you can use on a pseudo element. There we are. So I've injected a piece of content here. That attribute selector we could have for the content, let's create one called data time. There we are. So maybe this content is being dynamically created. Maybe I'm reaching out to the server and I'm fetching some information to bring back. And this is an example of the content that was coming back. I'm using JavaScript, we'll say, to inject or create these attributes and inject these values. And we'll say this one's going to be August 31st, this one's August 26th. And I will come in here, instead of hard coding a value like this, I want to say I want the data time attribute. There. Now I'm dynamically injecting this content, and I've got the different values because there were different values in this attribute. So that's the after. There's also a before element. So on this first paragraph right here, I'm going to create a before pseudo element as well. There we are. And the content is going to be just the string hello. Display, we'll set it as inline. We can, which is the default, we can add some padding on the right hand side to make space between it and whatever comes next inside the paragraph. There we are. So now I've got before content and after content being created. If we were to look at this page, so we're looking at the elements inside the page here. Inside my main element, there's my paragraph, and you can see my paragraph. There is a before element. I can click on that. I can see the CSS that's being applied. It will highlight it for me here on the page, and I can see that there's also an after element. Again, I can look at the CSS that's being applied to that element. So it is here, but in the HTML itself, we're just getting this little reference. And because it's a pseudo element, it doesn't really exist. That means that things like hover are going to fail. I cannot come in here and add hover like this. Let's leave that alone. We'll come in here and we'll repeat this. So nth child number 1 before, and then we add hover like that. And let's change the color to red and the font weight to 900, so really bold. Okay, now I come over here, refresh the page, make sure I've got the latest. I hover over it, nothing happens. I cannot add these pseudo classes onto pseudo elements. I can come over here and I can append it like this. I can say p:hover: nth child 1 or p nth child 1 : hover. I can add 2 pseudo classes like this to my paragraph. That's going to work. If I come over here, make sure I've got it updated. When I mouse over, yes, that is working. The only sort of caveat here is the fact that the hover is being applied to the paragraph, not to the before element. So if I hover anywhere over the paragraph, it works. It's not just on the pseudo element itself, it's anywhere on the paragraph. That's where this is being applied. But you can combine them if you absolutely need to. If you've only got one line of text, yeah, not a problem. You can do it, and it actually probably is a little bit nicer use case for the user as well. They don't have to be as accurate with the hover state. All right, so that is before and after. They are pseudo elements. You can chain them together with other things like you see here. You can use the attribute, or you can use strings, and you can put the content in there. So you can dynamically inject the content right into the page. It's there for the user to see, and because it's a pseudo element, it means that you can style it. So you can apply any CSS properties that you want to that content. All right, so I hope that helps you out. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. If you found this useful, please share it. And as always, thanks for watching.